What would you prefer? A burger, pizza, nyama? If you're sitting at home, looking at your phone, rather than me, wondering what you're going to eat tonight, do you start with the meat? Do you move to the fish? Really? Someone orders takeaway fish? Or is it the chicken for you? You might have noticed someone on a motorbike near you delivering food, so many of them in many places nowadays. But how do we find out which is the most popular fast food? Let's try. Daniele Joubert is the head of consumer growth at Uber Eats Sub-Saharan Africa. Daniele, good afternoon to you. So which is it? Which is the most popular fast food? What have most of your customers ordered?
So the most popular fast food, as always, includes some of the favorites like pizza, beers, burgers, and even sushi. But what was very, very interesting is the big shift that we saw in South African behaviors to local cuisines like pap, malva puddings, chakalakas, boerewors, gatsby's, etc. So that was definitely interesting to see that shift in consumer preferences.
Is there any one particular item that's ordered more than others? One particular burger, one particular chicken portion, anything like that, that you see, you just know that's the consistent one. People are going to buy a lot of that this week.
So the item that was the most searched on the platform was actually pizza. So not necessarily specifically linked to a specific brand, but that was definitely the item that was most searched across the country.
I can see you trying very hard to make sure you avoid brands, Daniele, probably best. Do you find that there are seasons? I mean, in winter maybe you want a nice pizza, maybe in summer you want a salad. I know no one orders a salad on Uber Eats, and don't tell me that they do. But do you find that there are seasons to this?
Yeah, no, we definitely see a lot of seasonality. The biggest impacts on seasonality is student towns, as you can imagine. So there you see massive influxes when students write exams, and when they're busy, and also big dips when they leave these student towns. Outside of that, you see very big group ordering over summertime. So we can clearly see the impact of people spending a lot more time together, families being together. So we can see the actual basket of our items or number of items in orders really grow. And then in winter, you definitely see, a lot of winter foods, warm soups, stews. So a very different shift into what type of meals consumer orders. So definitely see a big play in seasonality. And then, as you would expect, we see a very, very impact, not necessarily over the year seasonality, but weekly seasonality, where weekends and paydays are the most popular time for people to place orders on Uber Eats.
And that moment, at the family braai when you realize you really do all need to eat again. Do you find different cities do different things?
So we definitely see a very interesting change in order behavior across cities. And one of the most interesting things from our cravings report that we saw last year is that Johannesburg actually overtook Cape Town as the most popular vegan orders, or the most vegan orders in the city of Johannesburg. So I'm not sure if all Cape Townians will be happy with this change. But for instance, there we definitely see more vegan orders than in the rest of South Africa. And you also definitely see a lot more local cuisines and a need for local cuisines in some cities and towns, which again is very interesting and also linked to the type of merchants that they have in those cities or towns. And then a very interesting thing that we realized is Joburg is obviously on a roll this year, but they were also the friendliest city. They actually were the city where people used the most please and thank you in their comments to merchants.
I can absolutely guarantee you and confirm for you that Joburg is a lot friendlier than Cape Town. And we all, as South Africans, know this. We absolutely all know that. It's interesting, though, because Joburg used to have a reputation as sort of being rude. Some people spend quite a lot of money on your platform, don't they? I mean, in some cases, people have spent literally several thousand rand in one go. What were they buying?
So I don't know if this would be a shock for a lot of South Africans, but the biggest order that we saw last year was from a consumer who placed an alcohol or liquor order. So this consumer actually on the same day placed an order for 14,000 Rand from a liquor store, and then just 25 minutes later placed another order from the same store worth 19,000 Rand. So they actually spent 33,000 Rand on liquor on one day on Uber Eats. which was massive.
Interesting business you're in. For years, I mean, literally for a very long time, you've been able to phone a takeaway place and have your food delivered. I mean, probably in South Africa for maybe 50 years.
Yep.
But in the last 10 years, this business has really changed. It used to be maybe a sort of pizza place would do it, and that would kind of be it. Maybe there was something to do with the maths of having the pizza in the back of the motorbike, I don't know. Now we see you can order almost everything. And you're not the only one in the market that does this. You sort of combine different outlets together. You've got one big competitor. And are you finding that there's still growth in the market, that actually you're getting more outlets joining you and more customers?
Yeah, so I think that was a very interesting thing that we've observed post-COVID or during COVID. You can, as you rightfully said, we saw very, very high growth in the industry. And there was an expectation that that growth will decrease significantly or completely stop after the pandemic. But what we've seen with new competitors entering the market, as well as on our own platform, there's still growth in this industry, with new people joining us, trying the service for the first time, even now, which has been very interesting. So it's really what we call on the sunrise industry. The opportunities, for this industry to grow will just continue. And, given like Uber Eats, we've expanded into grocery, convenience, liquor. And in those categories, just the number of stores or merchants that joined the platform has actually increased by more than 1,800% since 2021. But another interesting thing that we've seen in terms of this growth is not just in the number of new people or new merchants joining the platform, but actually in how consumers use the platform. So in the past, even in COVID, something like Uber Eats would have been a once-a-week treat. So people would have maybe ordered once a week, either to replenish their groceries or as a treat on a Friday night. And what we actually now see is that consumers use platforms like Uber Eats very, very frequently. One of our consumers actually placed at least one order every single day for the whole of 2023. So that means 365 days, This consumer placed at least one order. So it just kind of shows the dependency of ordinary South Africans on a company like Uber Eats.
Daniele, I'm in Joubert and you're in Cape Town, so I hope you're not shocked when I say thank you very much. And please speak to us again in the future.